Hi Mohammed, are you able to hear me now? You should be able to see the same browser page. It should have Sonar Cube as the title. Are you able to hear me? No, sorry, I still can't hear you. Okay. Okay, so what we might do is I'll start and just jump into the chat if you have any questions. Just it might take a while to get the audio working for your end, so we might as well get started if that's okay with you. That way you can go on and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Okay, well, I'll start with the usual sales pitch. Thanks for joining me this morning on this presentation. It's going to be about half an hour, or maybe depending on how many questions there are, or how many questions you have. I usually start with a bit of an agenda. Basically, it'll be about 5 minutes talking about terms, about 5 or 10 minutes with the demonstration, 5 minutes to talk about the diagramming tool, which is the second part of the demonstration. A few minutes to talk about future directions and then questions. But since it's just the two of us, just throw any questions you have into the chat and let me know if you can't hear me clearly or if I'm talking too quickly. Yeah, just tell me to slow down if you need me to. I do tend to speak quickly. So just a quick 1 minute version of what we're trying to do here. So Sonar is a product that's been around for a number of years now. It's mainly focused on the live stream programming languages such as Java and C, C++, VB, PHP, etc. So what it is, it's a platform for collecting two pieces of information about code. One is metrics, and one is violations. So I'll just jump into Sonar now. So here's a project that I've run. So I'll just jump into it, and I'll show you how to run it in a second, but just to give you an idea what we mean by metrics and violations. So in the Sonar sense, metrics are any sort of useful information about our code base. So metrics are, for example, the number of files, the number of lines of code, number of lines of comments. Violations are particular programming issues that the code analysis has found. So that's what Sonar is as a platform. It's trying to collect that. And what it does, and you won't be able to see it from this demonstration here, but what it does is it collects them over time. So what you're trying to do is it allows you to build a continuous improvement framework. So you run the tool, on one day of the week, say Monday. Your developers go in and make some changes. You run the tool on Tuesday, and it gives you a incremental or decremental view or summary of how your code or how it perceives your code's improved or gotten worse. So when the violations generally go down, it means your code's got better. When the violations generally go up, it means your code's got worse. It just gives you that ability to track the quality of the code over time. So the longer running a project is, and the longer running the code base is, it gives you a better indication of where your complexity is, where your issues are, and where you should be spending your time and effort rectifying, say, technical debt. It also, yeah. So that's the quick version. So the main thing we want to do this is we want to make our code cheaper to maintain. We want to make our code better. So the metrics allow us to look at our code from the viewpoint of a number of different dimensions. One will be just the size of the code, which is, say, the files. Another one would be the lines of code. So there's a dimension we can say, well, what is my most complex file purely from the number of lines? And you can say, well, that's the one we want to have a look at to see if it needs to be, if it's too complex. So the more complex a piece of code is, the harder it is to maintain, the more likely it is to have bugs. So we use that particular metric to decide whether or not we need to spend some more time looking at that, whether or not we've got an issue with that. So that's one metric. Another one would be the amount of duplication in the code. So we're trying to avoid having to rewrite the same thing over and over again. So when we have common code, ideally we like to use it. Now there is a proviso here, because the way the message broker code is actually written with where every node requires a copy message headers and copy message header properties. That duplications is still a little bit. It's not producing the information we'd like at the moment, because it does show a lot of false positives around those particular two methods, particular two included pieces of code. So we're just trying to work out how to. We've been trying to work out how to tune the code duplication check to ignore those, but we're still working on it. So there's another set of metrics. Another metric which we find interesting is the string manipulation mode. And what this is telling us is how much work our ESQL is doing as far as manipulating code. And we'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second. So basically, you click on a metric and it gives you some more information. So that's the metric side of things. Now the violation side. So violations are basically, if you're come from the Java world, it's the equivalent of what check style find bugs and PMD gives a Java developer or a C# developer. Basically, it's statical. It's analyzing your code and it's telling you where it thinks there might be issues. So it's equivalent doing a fairly simple, purely looking at the code, not so much the architectural side of things, but purely looking at the code side of things, code review. I'll just pause there for a second. Do you have any questions? Okay, I'll walk it going through. So this is the majority of the benefit. This is where you get the majority of the benefit for looking at your code, in particular message broker code. It's in the violations. It's telling you you've done things in a way that's either a bad coding practice or it's potentially going to be a bug. So we'll just jump into all the issues, and we'll quickly look at some of them to see which ones we think are issues, coding issues, which ones are bugs. Now, I'll just skip over the first couple because they're actually specific to a particular customer, and they don't make a lot of sense to outside of that particular customer. Okay, so there's about 80, I think there's about 80 or 83 metrics that, oh, sorry, 83 violations. So I'll just talk about one or two of them. Otherwise, we can spend hours going through them and what causes them and root cause analysis and going back and looking at the code. But we'll just look at one, for example. This one here, the input node has no catch handler. There's no catch handler connected. Errors may not be tracked. And the alternative one is, well, the next one is the input node has no failure connected. Errors may be lost. So what that's saying, I'll just fire up my message broker development toolkit in the background. What they're saying when we jump into this particular issue is that we've got a node that has an error handler. For example, an MQ node. Oh, sorry. We have a node such as an MQ node that can have an error handler or failure handler, but has not got one connected. So what this is saying is, when if it has an error, this particular flow has no exception handling at all. So what this means is, when we run it, it may not. Any errors will basically be thrown back all the way to whatever we're going to configure for our deadlift queue. So we've got no ability to do compensation. We've got no ability to do logging. All we know is the error. All we know is the failure, and we might not get much in the way of error reporting. So what this is telling us is that we might want to add some error capturing and exception handler in there. So that's a very message broker specific violation. And we'll work through a couple of them. Unused method. This is sort of your general coding practice. Basically, it's saying, we'll jump straight into the SQL. Just one lines. So an unused method is hopefully as obvious as the tag of the violation says. It's a method that we can't find, or the state code analysis can't find anything calling it. So basically, we believe, as far as our state analysis goes, so it's on line 53, so we'll just jump to line 53. As far as our static analysis goes, according to our message, 53, yeah. As far as our static analysis goes, it's telling us that this piece of code is never called, and it can be removed. Now, it is static analysis, so sometimes it can be tripped up. So simply going through and removing every single unused piece of unused code because the tool says so potentially could cause you harm, because there may be other ways to call the code's actually invoked, which is a bit more proprietary, a bit more tricky, and the tool won't pick up on all of them. So before you actually just run and start commenting things out or deleting code, probably best to comment it out and just check that the build still works. But in this case, hopefully it's one we're not going to get tripped up on, because as you can see there, it called a copy entire message to be commented up, but we still have a local procedure to this compute node of copy entire message. So it is deep code, we can definitely say that. I do have Skype, and we can switch over to Skype if you'd like. Can I use the same email address and try to connect you on Skype? I'm just loading up my Skype session now. Okay, I'll just try to connect you on Skype now and see if that works. Then we might be able to chat a bit easier. So just give me some more sign in. Okay. Okay, so contacts. I'm not a big user of Skype. Contacts. Let me just get contact. Skype directory. Okay. Okay, you're in Auckland. Looks like the same photo you've got on LinkedIn. That's good. Let me just. Can I try a video call? So I'm just calling you now. Hey, Mohammed. Right, okay, now I'm not a big Skype user, so I think there's a way of sharing the screen, or you just want to keep having the other video going and just chat over Skype. Okay, well, we've got the other video connected, so maybe we'll just chat this way. Oh, you got the same headsets I do. We'll just chat this way then, rather than trying to solve another issue. Okay, so just I'll just take a break there. So do you have any questions? Okay. Yep. It's a commercial tool. Yeah. So the pricing is it's $300 for the first year, and it's $1,000 Australian each year after that. Yeah, we were considering giving it away free for the first year or something like that, get people get all the issues sorted out and get set up. But we're getting a lot of people that really were interested in purchasing it. They just wanted to teach. You just wanted us to teach them how to do message broker development. That was like, okay, that's a bit of an issue. So if you're not, I mean, if you're not willing to spend $300 improving your code, but you're probably really not interested in code quality anyway. So hence the different pricing model there. Plus, we have found most places that we've got this up and running. It takes a bit of time to do a bit of time around education. It takes a bit of time to around configuration, and we're working through practices. So it just means that it's not such a big upfront cost for people taking it on. And then if it's working and proving valuable, they can continue on after the year. Otherwise, they can let it lapse. And, no harm, no foul sort of things for covering bugs, which isn't that much money. Yep. 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 Okay. Yep. Now we actually have one customer who's looked at this and yeah, love it. We want it, and then they don't. And I'm talking about these 80 violations. Whatnot. They don't look at them actually. They wanted some extra proprietary ones, so they've got about and hence I said you can ignore the first couple that show up because they're proprietary. They basically said, well, can you configure a couple of coding rules for us? And I went, okay, if they're depending on, we'll work out some sort of pricing. So depending on whether or not it's something that is more core to our product, yeah, we'll include it because other people find it valuable. If it's just something that they want done, then we'll charge them for it. So we've just worked that out. But I can't go into too many details of the pricing. But so basically, they've just included a couple of their fundamental coding rules in this. and we've been progressively adding them in over the last couple of months. So they've got things like they want their schemas, for example, to be configured a certain way, their XSDs, for when they do WSDLs. So we've got a couple of proprietary checks in there that just make sure that they're using particular types of elements in their schemas. So the tool itself is good as a general, I guess, code review tool, but we do have the ability to do things particular to different enterprises. It's just a matter of being able to, I guess, to quantify and clarify exactly what the issues or the standards that you're trying to do are. And they've got a team of, I think they've got 3 architects and 12 developers, so they've got an off-site development team that produces that works through the specs, in a different city, and then they had the issue of basically they have the same things coming up in their code reviews all the time. You haven't set this particular, they're very particular on some of their input nodes. So you haven't set this particular validation on your input node, right? Send it back, start again. So they're getting a lot of cost in people sending through code that reviewing things that you understand that it's just occasionally missing. And they got 10 things in their coding standard. If you've got 10 things in your coding standard, it's easy enough to miss one. So we're in Canberra, in Australia, so a couple of hours behind you. Yeah. So and actually, just on that point, there is and this goes beyond this particular demonstration, but the way they've got their environment set up is they're using a continuous build tool. So they're using they were using Jenkins, but now they're moving to Team Foundation Server, like the purely Microsoft Shop tools. So they've got Foundation Server for their version control, but also their build management. So what they do for their build management is, at the end of their build, they run this plugin, which you can do. And what it means, what they do is and there's in Sonar. Let me just quickly go back to my screen for a second. In Sonar, there's this thing called quality profiles, and this is where you. Oh, okay. Let me just. Are you able to hear me again? I'm just trying through the other one, the other stuff. Can you hear me through this one? Sorry, let me just. Okay, let me try and redial you once more. Are you able to hear me? I can't. I still can't hear you. That's really odd. My microphone, yes.